Welcome to Altnabreac Towers, Episode 7, Driveway Wars, Network Rails, Failure of a Truce. Please note, the following episode is a work of fiction, inspired by true events. It was a damp, gray morning at Station Cottage, Altnabreac. The wind swirled across the open fields like it had secrets it was dying to tell. Secrets of railways, land, and the endless, beautiful isolation of the flow country. Up the private road, two figures emerged from the mist. Donald and Liam, representatives from Network Rail and their contractor QTs. They came armed not with weapons, but with clipboards and plans. Their mission seemingly simple: a civil discussion about a disputed driveway. Just a polite walk, Liam said, his voice a hopeful murmur as he peered over his clipboard. Show them the proposed access route. Peace talks, really. Donald, pulling his hat down against the insistent wind, offered a dry smile. Nothing could possibly go wrong with a simple driveway discussion, could it? Famous last words in Altnabreac. Inside the cottage, Ian Thomas Appleby was a storm of nervous energy, pacing the floor like a man possessed. Elizabeth, they're coming. The wolves are at the door, wolves in sheep's clothing. Elizabeth, ever the calm center of his storm, simply raised an eyebrow from her armchair. Wolves, Ian. Yes, he exclaimed, his voice rising. QT's and Network Rail. Today they come for the driveway. Tomorrow it'll be the land. Then the midges. And then the chickens. The chickens? Elizabeth asked, the question hanging in the air. Ian's eyes were wide with conviction. The chicken army. My elite poultry operatives, trained for months to defend this estate. He flung open the back door, revealing a small flock of hens pecking contentedly in the yard. As he stormed out, they scattered under a nearby fence. Colonel Peckington, Sergeant Feathers, observed the perimeter, enemies at the gate. Elizabeth sighed, pinching the bridge of her nose. Ian, please. It's just Network Rail and QTs. They only came to talk about the driveway. The driveway? Ian gasped, spinning around as if the word itself were an attack. It's a code word, don't you see? They want everything, the land, the purple root, the chickens, all of it. Just then, Donald and Liam appeared at the edge of the property, their polite smiles a stark contrast to Ian's frantic energy. With a dramatic leap, Ian planted himself in the middle of the driveway, flapping his arms like a territorial bird. Halt. Identify yourselves. State your purpose. Good morning, Mr. Appleby, Donald began, trying to maintain a friendly tone. I'm Donald, and this is my colleague Liam. We just wanted to stop right there, Ian interrupted. How do I know you're not from Mossad or the Illuminati? What are your credentials? Elizabeth stepped forward, her voice weary. Ian, they're here for a friendly discussion. Ian's eyes widened in horror. Friendly? Friendly is a trap. It's a classic tactic. Just like their purple root on the map. It's hypnotic. Designed to bend the mind and steal your free will? Liam, looking utterly bewildered, raised a calming hand. Mr. Appleby, the purple root. It's just a line on a cadastral map. Cadastral? Ian repeated, seizing the word. Exactly. A tool of manipulation. Every line is a lie, every official stamp, a hidden scheme. Reluctantly, Ian agreed to lead them on a tour of the disputed area, though he held a pair of binoculars to his eyes, scanning the horizon like a sentry. Be warned, he announced to his guests. Every tree could be a spy. Every bush could be a listening device. As if on cue, a cloud of midges swarmed around them, tiny biting agents of the wild. You see, Ian declared, swatting at the air, even the insects know? They're on my side. They approached the proposed pathway for a digger, and Ian stomped his foot dramatically. Halt. This is restricted territory. Colonel Peckington, advance. At his command, two of the bravest-looking hens waddled forward, clucking softly. Liam tried his best to ignore them, his professional demeanor cracking just a little. They're just chickens, sir, he said cautiously. Not just chickens. Ian retorted, these are espionage birds. You've been tracking Network Rail's every move since last Tuesday. From the doorway, Elizabeth muttered to herself. Last Tuesday seems very important all of a sudden. Silence, Ian commanded. Sergeant Feathers reports the immediate area is clear, but beware the red zones. Every attempt at a normal conversation descended into chaos. At one point, Ian stopped, sniffed the air dramatically, waved his arms, and accused the wind itself of espionage. He then turned his intense gaze on Liam. "Why's your pen blue, Liam?" he demanded. Liam stared at his pen, utterly baffled. "Because it's a pen, exactly," Ian shouted triumphantly. "A blue pen. You're signaling for aerial support." A classic diversion tactic. From a safe distance, Elizabeth rolled her eyes. "I call it madness," she sighed. Ian then clutched a thick folder to his chest, as if it were the crown jewels. "Observe," he said, spreading the documents on a small garden table. "Every line, every stamp, every color, it's all evidence of their grand conspiracy." Elizabeth glanced over. "Ian, it's just paperwork. Just paperwork," he boomed. "Look at this blue strip. It's hypnotic. It's a pathway directly into your mind." Donald peered cautiously at the document. "Sir, it's a cadastral map." "Cadastral," Ian roared. "Fancy words designed to lull the masses into a false sense of security. And look here. The red markings. That means danger. Tyranny. Oppression." As he spoke, the chickens, drawn by the commotion, began pecking at the papers on the table. Ian lunged to protect them. "They are verifying the evidence," he explained to the stunned visitors. "Even my elite poultry operatives understand the gravity of this situation." Elizabeth sighed again. "Or Ian, they just want their breakfast." Silence. Now the purple root. "It may look innocuous, yes, but it is a trap." He then produced a hand-drawn map, a chaotic web of lines crisscrossing in purple, red, and green. "Follow the wrong line," he warned, his voice a conspiratorial whisper, "and you become trapped in a labyrinth of bureaucratic purgatory forever." Liam, trying to orient himself, pointed to a section of the map. That's your garden, isn't it?" "Just my garden," Ian bellowed. "Of course it is. That's why the chicken army patrols every inch of it, day and night." As if to prove his point, a hen flapped onto the table, scattering the precious papers everywhere. Ian lunged again. "They are undermining me." "They've been turned." Donald, ever the diplomat, tried once more. "Sir, I really think it's just a chicken. Just a chicken. That is Sergeant Feathers, a decorated veteran. Each peck is code." "He's trying to tell me something," Elizabeth, watching the scene unfold, muttered under her breath. "Victory exists only in the mind of a man who talks to chickens." As they neared the railway platform, Ian began erecting imaginary tripwires with grand gestures. "Step 1 inch closer, and the chicken army will strike." "They have sensors in their beaks that detect intruders?" A nearby hen pecked lazily at some moss on a stone. Ian nodded solemnly. "Proof. You see? Sergeant Feathers is in action." The midges swarmed again, an ominous buzzing cloud around their heads. Ian flailed his arms. "They are watching everything, recording our every word." Finally, Donald and Liam, defeated, decided it was time to leave. As they began their retreat, Ian escorted them, delivering a non-stop lecture on corporate ethics, the strategic importance of midges, local soil composition, and advanced chicken strategy. "Step lightly," he warned. "Colonel Peckington never sleeps. The midges report directly to me." As they reached the gate, Elizabeth appeared with 2 mugs of tea, a peace offering. "Thank you for your patience," she said to the 2 men, her expression a mixture of apology and resignation. "Patience," Ian shouted from behind her. "There's no time for patience. The purple root never sleeps. Colonel Peckington never sleeps. The midges never sleep." Liam and Donald retreated cautiously, backing away as if from a wild animal. Ian stood at his gate, waving frantically. "Goodbye, wolves in sheep's clothing. The chickens know your plans. We will be ready for you." As their car disappeared down the track, Elizabeth sighed, the steam from her tea swirling in the cold air. "I just wanted a quiet morning." Ian turned to her, his eyes still burning with righteous fire. "Quiet. Quiet is a lie, Elizabeth. The chicken army and the midges are always listening, always watching." And as we fade out over the beautifully chaotic scene, the midges buzz. The hens remain strategically positioned around the garden. And Ian plots his next defensive move while Elizabeth, a portrait of eternal patience, simply shakes her head and takes a sip of her tea. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more tales from Altnabreac Towers.